Hey yogis, welcome. I'm Laura, live Namasturm Yoga. Today we're going to do a yin deep stretch yoga practice. Yin yoga is a great counterbalance to a flow yoga practice that you might have. Here we're going to slow down and stretch deep. I'll guide you into each pose, and the poses are held for multiple minutes. So most of our poses today are going to be held from somewhere between 2 and 4 minutes. Let's go ahead and get started. So to start today, we're actually going to move to a dangling pose on our feet. So we're just going to come to our feet, nice and easy. You can be near the top of the mat if you'd like to, but it's not that big of a deal where you are. Have your feet about hip distance apart, soft knees. So this is really just a standing forward fold, but we're going to let our knees be really soft so that we're not using a lot of muscle effort and we're not like actively trying to stretch the backs of the legs. Rather, we're going to let gravity take the upper body, just the weight of it, so you can let your hands rest on the floor, or you could grab your elbows if you like, and just let everything soften. So the focus in yin is letting go. So we're really trying not to activate our muscles. Obviously in this pose we are on our feet, so some of our muscles are working, but we're trying to be soft and do less. Gravity is going to do most of the work for us here. In this way, we're stretching not only muscle, but some of our deeper connective tissue, things like joints, tendons, ligaments. Let yourself focus on your breath. You might choose a mantra to follow along with if that's something helpful for you. Release and give in here. Now keeping your right foot at the front of the mat, step or slide the left foot back, lowering the left knee. We're going to move into dragon pose. So you can let your right foot step a little bit wider to clear some space. Knee should be over the ankle as you get started, and then hands are inside of that leg. This pose definitely can go deeper, but take it where you want it. So if this is already pretty intense, prop yourself up with your hands. If you feel like you're able to lower your upper body down, you can start to move to your forearms. Maybe only one forearm comes down, maybe the other hand has to be there, or ultimately you can move to both forearms. As you sink deeper, you might notice that your knee opens to the side a little bit. It's okay if it moves a little bit, but we don't want it to move dramatically away from that vertical alignment over the shin and ankle. You can let your head hang down here as well. And then just breathe and give in. Enjoy the stretch. These do sometimes get a little intense. So yin yoga isn't intense in how vigorous it is. We're not activating muscles. We're not raising our heart rate or anything like that, but sometimes the length of time spent in deep stretches can feel a little intense. We don't want to feel pain. If you start to feel pain, find a way to back off of the pose, to ease up. If you are able to give in and let go, you might experience sensation. As long as it's not pain, just breathe, do your best. Alright, we're going to move to a squat, so you may need to use your hands to help you here, and then just tuck the back toes and step the back foot forward again. There's a few ways you can do a squat. You can keep your feet parallel and knees over toes, or you can turn your toes out. Either one is okay. Some of you might find that your heels have to be up, and that's also okay. But if they will go down, allow the heels to rest. And then if your knees are wide, you might just let your upper body sink down. If your knees are more directed forward, you might wrap your arms around your shins. But in any case, we're just spending the next minute or so in this squat. This is really great for our hip joints. It should be good for our knees. If you're experiencing pain in your knees, you might vary this or find the modified version by just sitting on the floor and hugging your knees in. So we don't want to cause more strain or stress on the knees, but ultimately if our knees are still healthy, working this way on them can be beneficial for the joints. Same with the ankle joints, we don't want pain, but if the ankles are feeling healthy and fine, working in this way can actually be beneficial. And then we're going to go to our lunge, our dragon pose on the other side. So keeping the left foot forward, let's now step the right foot back, lower the right knee, and set up for the other side. That left foot can go a little bit wide. The hands can come down inside of the left leg. And you might just start with the head reaching forward. But as you spend time here, and gravity starts to have an effect, you may find it's pretty easy to just start to sink down and give in. So we're not pushing or pulling, we're just letting go and softening in any way we're able to, releasing, getting closer to the ground, still breathing, let go. Support yourself with your hands, and we're going to move to a child's pose. So step your left knee back, take the knees wide, feet together, lower your hips back to your heels, allow your upper body to sink down, forehead to the floor. This is a very restorative pose, so although we do get some stretch in the hips and the knees, this should feel pretty peaceful and calm. Let's transition to saddle pose. So we're going to stay on our knees, but now let's take the knees together and the feet wide, sitting back between our heels. If you have a hard time getting your sit bones on the floor, you might choose to sit on a yoga block if you've got one, or a rolled up blanket or folded up towel, or even a book, so that you can actually rest your sit bones down. And then the basic form here is to just be upright and sit, and you might feel this in your feet, your ankles, your knees. The fronts of your legs might be getting a little bit of a stretch. For those of you who want to go deeper, so we can take it to the next level by lowering back. So you can start to walk behind you and maybe the forearms come to the floor. This can be done even if your sit bones are resting on something, and then maybe puff up your chest, let your head drop back. Now, if you are able to have your sit bones completely flat on your mat, the next step might be for you, but it is always an optional stage, and that would be to just lower down completely so you're flat on your back. For a lot of us, this is fine, it's comfortable. For some of us, this is not possible. So listen to your body. Although we don't want to activate our muscles and be working a lot, the work that we can do in a yin practice is support ourselves so that we're not going to a place of pain or extreme discomfort. So if you need to use your hands or your arms to support you, that is encouraged. Be where you need to be so that you can actually breathe smoothly, easily, soften and let go. Although some of these poses feel intense, it should still feel like there's a sense of calm and ease that you can find in each and every one of them. And then use your hands to carefully bring yourself up. Bring your hands out in front of you. And we're going to move to a Sphinx pose. So you can start to walk your forearms down, let the elbows set up under your shoulders, and then walk your legs back until you're able to just lower your hips to the floor. This is a small back bend here, and if we're in Sphinx pose, it should feel pretty restorative. The chest can actually drop down here, and you can let the head be up, or you can even drop the head. If you'd like to stay with Sphinx, go ahead and hold here. If you want to go a little deeper, you can move to seal pose, which basically just involves straightening the arms. So you would push the hands into your mat for a little traction and straighten up the arms. Now in this pose, the arms do work as support, but we want to try to relax the chest, relax the torso, and maybe even relax the neck. The legs are also relaxed behind us, so if you notice that you're tensing up your legs or your glutes, just see if you can soften and let that part of you go. To continue to deepen the pose, you may choose to walk the hands further back so that you're propping yourself up a little higher, but go where it feels right for you. Alright, walk your hands back so you can come to your knees. We're going to move to a swan, which is the same as pigeon pose really, but we're going to focus on it being maybe a little bit of a deeper stretch. So see if you can bring your right knee forward behind your right wrist. And you might also try to shift your right foot further forward so your shin is nearly parallel with the front edge of the mat. Another way to do that is to rock to your right hip temporarily, shifting your right foot forward. We don't want it above the level of the knee, but it can be to the level of the knee. And then take your weight with your hands so that you're off your hip again, so that you're on the top of the back thigh. Now this is swan, so we're upright. If you want to go to sleeping swan, this is where we can get a nice stretch. So bringing the hands out in front of you and just lowering down. This is going to be a long hold, so make sure that where you're at, you're feeling okay. It's not hurting your knee. And then as you spend time here, try to stay connected to your breath. If there's any place you feel tension, you can think about breathing into that space, and then as you exhale, letting go in any areas of tension. This isn't like biologically what's happening. Obviously, as we breathe in, we breathe into our lungs, we breathe out from our lungs. But our body is open to suggestion, and so if we can sort of just imagine that we're breathing into this spot where we feel tension and releasing there, sometimes that idea will actually let the muscles in that area let go just a little bit more. Feel free to walk your arms out if you need to, let your head drop down. Again, we're just trying to let go. If you find it's too intense, return to taking some weight with your arms. Bring yourself up out of the pose gently, and we'll take our time transitioning to the other side. So bring the right knee back, and then carefully guide that left knee forward. Trying to set up a mirror version of what you did on the first side. Maybe use your right toes to walk the right leg back and extend the foot behind you. Maybe gently rock to your left hip and shift the shin a little further forward. That's optional. If your heel needs to be tucked closer to the body, that's all right as well. And then making sure you're not rocked fully to your left hip. You could start upright, and maybe this is the pose that works for you for now. But as you gradually feel like you'd like to fold into the deeper version of the stretch, bring the hands in front of you and start to walk yourself down. Maybe to forearms at first, but you can gradually let that transition, walking the hands out, bringing the forehead down. Find your pose, and then don't feel like once you get to your pose that you're stuck there, right? You could back off. You can go deeper. So every breath, every moment in the pose is an opportunity to choose the way you want to do it. That said, it's not desirable to do like a whole bunch of fidgeting and adjusting. So try to find as much stillness as you can, but there is sort of that slow, subtle development that can occur even within a space of seeming stillness. yourself up. Again, be gentle, especially if that stretch felt intense. We're going to rock to our hips, and we're going to come to a symmetrical pose. We're just going to take a straddle here. So legs out wide, and we're going to fold gently down the center. So I encourage you to take a second and really make sure your legs are relaxed. So instead of flexing the feet, engaging quads, trying to tone up the legs, allow them to be completely soft here. And then the upper body is just going to start to sink. So the hands are going to walk out in front of you. Instead of trying to push, pull, or reach your way into a deeper version of the stretch, just let your body does what your body does naturally. You'll find your edge, like where you meet resistance, that's exactly where you should stop. But as you spend time here and gravity starts to give your body permission to sink a little deeper, then you know that the stretch is happening. You're just not pushing towards it. You can walk your arms forward if you find they are actually in your way of a deeper stretch, but let it happen organically. And carefully walk yourself up. We're going to move into frog pose now. So bend your knees, and then you can kind of use your hands to move yourself into this one. We're going to drop to our knees, but try to take them wide as you can get them. This is going to be a little different for everyone, but take them wide. Make sure they are on your mat so that they're padded. feet, instead of bringing feet together behind you like you would in a child's pose, try to take your feet as wide as the knees so that the shins are like parallel to each other and behind you. Now to lower down into this pose, we want to think of lowering our heart, but also lowering the hips back towards the heels, almost like you're going to go to a wide child's pose. So we're going to lower the hips and sink them back, and we're going to lower the chest. Forearms can prop us up. You can relax the neck and let the head hang. And make your way up. That one's always pretty intense for me. Tuck your left foot in as you're coming out of this one, and then let yourself drop to your hip, and we're going to straighten the right leg out. We're going to take a little half butterfly here, which is kind of like Janu Shavasana, so the left foot's going to be tucked in, the right leg's going to extend out. Again, make sure that that right leg is nice and relaxed, and we're going to turn our attention towards that leg and fold our body down. Again, we're not like trying to actively reach for the foot and pull ourselves deeper. Rather, we're just allowing things to happen. You can kind of just melt. Almost feels like a slow motion falling towards your leg. And then you can let the arms walk out. And if it's naturally easy for you to hold on to your foot and it feels comfortable to do so, that's fine. But we just don't want to strain for it, because the foot in and of itself is not the prize. We're just looking for a stretch, and we want to release and relax. Gently bring yourself up. And we're going to switch sides. So however you want to do that, if you want to turn in a different direction, that's fine. But the left leg is going to extend out. Right foot is going to tuck in. Gently angle your body and allow yourself to give into this fold, this stretch here. And coming up easily. We're going to move now to the floor, to our back. But let's keep the feet in front of us and soles of the feet together. Slide your hips forward towards your heels, and we're going to move to a supine butterfly, which is similar to like just a Supta Baddha Konasana. So the feet are together, knees wide, and then just allow yourself to come down to the floor. Maybe lift your chest and tuck your shoulders underneath your upper back. Arms can be out at your sides, or you could bend your elbows, bringing one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. The weight of the knees is what's going to encourage this stretch here, so do your best to just give into it. gently pull the knees into your chest, and I think it's time for a good twist. Let your arms come out at about the height of your shoulders. Let the knees both fall to the right, and then turn your head back to the left, allowing your left shoulder to drop down to the floor. So gravity's helping us here in that it's taking the knees in one direction and the upper body in the other, and in the middle we get a nice twist for our torso and our spine. Alright, and knees back to center. Maybe take a sec, hug into a little ball. And then we're just going to switch sides. So letting the knees fall gently over to the left now. Turn the head back to the right with the arms out. And try to just melt into the floor. Alright, bringing the knees back to center. And then at your own pace, lengthening your whole body out onto your mat for a little time in Shavasana, corpse pose. This really is what completes your practice, allows you to completely let go and restore, allows your body to sort of incorporate what it is that it picked up from the practice today so that you get a little bit of a reset in this moment. So spend as long as you like in Shavasana, allowing yourself to just sink deeply into your mat and enjoy the stillness. If you made it all the way through this practice, I hope you're feeling relaxed now. Let me know in the comments how a yin yoga practice feels to you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll do so. I do have a whole playlist of yin classes, although the style that I teach most is vinyasa flow. I just think yin is such a great counter practice so that we get a little bit of that vigorous, but we also have time to slow down and deep stretch. Let me know if you agree. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I do hope you'll join me again next time. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing this practice. Namaste. All right, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.